right, welcome everyone. We're thrilled to have you with us today for our webinar, which is a Copilot enablement session workshop for SMBs. Very fortunate to have with us Lauren Knopps, Partner Solutions Sales Manager for Modern Work at Microsoft, and Lauren Pinkney, Partner Development Manager with AvePoint. Today they're going to spotlight some of the capabilities and some of the steps for preparing to make sure you get the most out of Microsoft Copilot and Microsoft AI. We'll also have a bit of time, hopefully at the end, for a Q&A, so you can put them in the Q&A. We'll be able to get through a couple of questions there at the end. So in terms of AI adoption and Copilot and what we're seeing out there in the business landscape, it's obviously been quite a rapid rise of generative AI. It's already well and truly out there transforming work, turning those routine tasks into those opportunities for growth, efficiency, and really driving innovation. I think a lot of us here today probably recognise that there are opportunities there for AI and the opportunities that it provides. And I think for a lot of you, Microsoft Copilot it's a really easy, entry point into AI for all of you. It's kind of integrates seamlessly from where your data already is if you're in Microsoft 365 and within the apps that you're likely already working with. However, there are challenges. Organizational and data readiness are important. Stalled adoption and also proving value are kind of key to successful AI integration. So Lauren's going to cover off and delve into a little bit about data governance and how it's critical for effective implementation, including looking at security permissions, ensuring we've got good quality, well-managed data to ensure that we get those accurate results. But the other big challenge, I guess, lies in recognizing and utilizing all of the capabilities of these tools. So Lauren Knopps I'm going to hand over to Seb. She's going to get us started with a bit of a run through of some of the latest use cases for Microsoft Copilot, and we'll take it from there. So over to you, Lauren.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. So I want to start out by just doing a little bit of an overview of Microsoft 365 Copilot, and then we'll go into security and I'll show you a few features. So firstly, when we're talking about Copilot and Microsoft 365 Copilot, this is the generative AI product for Microsoft customers. So it's bringing generative AI into the Microsoft 365 applications that you use on a day-to-day basis. So bringing those capabilities into the flow of your work. So how AI works, it imitates human behavior by using machine learning to do things like generating text, to look for information, create content, problem solving, analyzing data, things like that. And that uses what we call large language models, which are AI systems that are trained on massive amounts of data that help them read and understand human text, and also respond like a human would. So building that into a Microsoft app, so we have that interface within Word, PowerPoint, Excel, all of those different apps that enables you to interact with AI and leverage those capabilities to do tasks like creating content, summarizing things. There's even more high advanced features that are available now around process automation from these apps you use on a day-to-day basis. And the goal of this is to really help our customers with being able to save time on tasks that are more mundane and more time consuming, so they're freed up to focus on work that is more uniquely human and higher in value. So, and just ignore the pricing here because that is US, because all our content is kind of US related. So Microsoft 365 Copilot is comprised of a few different things. So we have Copilot Chat, and keep in mind that Copilot Chat by itself is available to all Microsoft customers, regardless of your license. And that's a free AI secure chat that you can access web information. So that's the kind of offering for everybody. And then M365 Copilot has Copilot Chat plus work-grounded chat. And what that means is you can use Copilot to ask questions and find information and generate content based off your work data. So, for example, I could say to Copilot, I've been out of the office for a couple of days. Can you please summarize all of my emails, Teams messages, notifications I've had over the past few days, create a table, and tell me what my action item is for all of those. Or I could say, what do I need to do to prepare for all my meetings this week? Or what's the latest update on this project? Or take existing content that I have in my work environment, like documents or PowerPoint presentations, and create other content from that information to help reduce the time it takes for us to output information to. And the unique thing about Microsoft 365 Copilot compared to other generative AI tools on the market is you have the Copilot functionality built into all the individual apps. So again, Copilot in Teams, Copilot in Outlook, and Word and PowerPoint. And then how Copilot functions in those apps is different based on the app because it's functioned around the types of work you do in those apps. So Copilot in Teams summarizes Teams meeting, captures action items. Copilot in Word helps you with summarizing documents or generating new documents. Copilot in Outlook summarizes your emails, drafts replies, helps prioritize emails, things like that. And then we have agents, which is kind of the newer phase that's coming to AI. So we kind of call, when we talk about AI, we're referring to it as different seasons. So like season 1 was that chat-based summarization, searching for information. Phase 2 is more about how we can automate workflows and how we can use autonomous agents to complete end-to-end business processes for us. So that's kind of the next whole phase. So I won't go into that too much, but agents allow you to create these. You can create a few different types of agents. So they could be retrieval-based agents, which means they're agents that are finding information for you, and they can be focused on specific data. So you can create an agent for a team or for a project that just looks at information related to that. But then on the more complicated end, you can make autonomous agents or agents that have actions, which is where they can start automating your processes and workflows in your organization. And then we have the Copilot control system. So this is all the different kind of reps of all the different management and security you have around Copilot, and Copilot Analytics. And Copilot Analytics is giving you usage reports and reports around adoption and ROI to help measure the impact that Copilot is having within your organization. So you can start to compare users that do have Copilot versus users who don't, how much time you're saving, and what you're seeing with adoption, who's adopting it, where are they adopting it, to help tailor your training and things around that as well. But we've got some security and compliance challenges, though, that generative AI brings. A key one is around organizations who have a lack of visibility into what generative AI apps people are using. So this is where if we don't understand kind of who's using Gen AI, what apps they're using, what information they're sharing into those apps, and also what information those apps are sharing, that causes issues like data oversharing. So this is where people are trying to access sensitive information through apps like Copilot, where there hasn't been data security put in place. Or data leaks, where users may inadvertently put sensitive or confidential data into other AI apps that may be not kind of governed by the organization, and non-compliance. So that's where it's so easy now for us to create content with generative AI that we can see issues where people may create unethical or harmful content. So it becomes really imperative that as organizations, we have governance over how generative AI is being used within our business so that we know it's being used safely and ethically, and it's not going to impact our business in any harmful way. So it's important to understand that when you're using these kind of public-facing tools that don't have all the security, you're paying for those tools with your data. So we often talk about if it's free, you're the product type thing. Not relevant to Copilot's free one because it's included as part of Microsoft licensing. And what we see is that because of the rapid adoption of generative AI in the consumer space, there's blurred lines between what should be business AI versus consumer AI. And so when we've got these, or our employees kind of free reign accessing whatever generative AI they want, it can introduce issues. So we've got to be mindful that these models that the different generative AI apps and tools use, they take on a flavor of the model that their data, or their model has been trained on from that data. And that flavor is returned in the responses. So if there's things like biases present, or it's not trained on accurate information, that can then come through in the responses from that tool. So again, it's really important that we have policies in place and we're understanding who's using what, and we have policies around how safe use of AI should look. When it comes to our model and the model for Copilot, so we talk about it being your data being in your bubble. So this is your bubble. And when you prompt Copilot, your data kind of goes to an instance of the same model as something like ChatGPT. So it's still using that technology, but it's instructed not to retain that. So the model is never training off your data, and it's never learning that. And that means that nobody outside your bubble is able to access your information through using these tools, which is really important. And the other thing is that it goes through the responsible and ethical filtering. So we train our models to ensure that they are removing bias so that the output is as ethical as possible and is enterprise friendly and safe for our workplaces. And the other part is that you can have your bubbles within your bubble. So using the different security and compliance tools that you have available to you, you can make sure that people only have access to what they should have access to through for their jobs. And it's a really important part in terms of preparing for adopting Copilot or generative AI. And no, Lauren will also be talking more about that. So it's a really critical part. And at the end of the day, whenever we talk about Copilot, our message is that Copilot acts as your assistant and it's your AI-powered assistant. But that is the case, but from a technical perspective, it can't access anything that you can't or do anything you can't. So when you have those data security and permissions in place, you're safe. It's not going to go outside what bubbles you've set up within your organization. Cool. So yeah, key thing before I get into a little bit of the demo, then which I understand is that when it comes to Copilot, it's the key thing for me is, yes, whenever you're using generative AI, there can be risks, but you as a customer always have control. It's your data and you can decide which tools and where you want to put your data. But the key part is awareness and education. So making sure that we are aware of what's being used within our business and we know what that means for our data. And then we know what tools we can use from a security and compliance perspective that we can implement to ensure that we are that our data is all secured and we can get the best experience from these tools. So again, for Copilot, it's having enterprise data protection, which means that the security commitments are in line with what you have for your email and your files and all the other Microsoft services you use. And also the large language models, or the models that ensure that your data will never be used to train them. And then you have all the different security and compliance policies that you can put in. And as a foundation, we have responsible AI. So that's the principles that ensure that we can ensure that we have all those different things we can do to make sure that people can only access the information they should. Okay, I'm going to jump on to the Copilot demo to show you a couple of features. Just a moment, I'll share my screen. And okay, is it coming up? Sorry. So also, any questions in the chat about what I'm talking about, just pop them in and I will answer them. Okay, so I want to just for the last few minutes before I hand over, I want to show you a few features that I love in Copilot. So the first one is the email features. So we have a summary by Copilot, which summarizes your email chains. And this is really powerful because instead of having to kind of filter through different types of filter through possibly weeks or months of email to understand what the priority is, understand what your action is, we can use Copilot. So this is a demo tenant, so no, I can't show you all my emails, but see here, I flip that button very quickly. I've got the summary of who's involved, what's happened, and got a breakdown of everything. And this is really helpful. I personally find this really helpful for being able to understand what I need to do and prioritize my emails in my inbox gets really full. And you also have these references here. So when you click on this, it will take you to the original email. So then you can read that in more detail if you want to. Another powerful thing that we're rolling out into Copilot now, which is part of our move to make Copilot being more proactive than reactive, so like actively helping you without you kind of triggering anything, is prioritize my inbox. It's not live in all customer tenants yet, but it will be starting to roll out very soon. But we have it, so I want to talk about it. It's awesome. So it basically reads your emails, understands whether there's urgency, and will make a little thing to like bump it up if it's a priority. And honestly, this has been a lifesaver for me for making sure that my inbox is very full, that I'm actually capturing things that where there's immediate or important action for me. And it's helping me get to things as well before, it's a bit late or before I kind of drop the ball on something as well, which I'm sure we're all used to when we have so much communications to get through. So it's an awesome one as well. So we have the summary feature in Outlook. We also have the Copilot chat within Outlook. So this allows us to, we can ask questions about other content. So if I wanted to summarize a meeting or an email or a file, I could do that into content that I could send to somebody. I could book a meeting through here. So I could say, so we'll do a meeting with, and you can reference people. So I'll say Peyton tomorrow. And it will find a time that we're both available and then give me the option to schedule that meeting. And the other thing we can do, awesome, so it's find a time, the first time they're available, so I can then send it off. It will book the meeting, give it a title, obviously, if you want to, some more detail. So I know that's something that people, Copilot's the scheduling capability is coming more and more to Copilot. And then we also have the option to reply, to summarize, and use coaching too. So I can reply to an email and say, I might just say reply to this email. This is a really bad example because the better you write your prompts, the better you're going to get a response from Copilot. But it's a good way of showing you that Copilot does read and understand the context that you're getting it to look at. So it's read to that, it's understand, it's given me a reply. Obviously, if I want Copilot to be more exact about what I want it to say, I really need to include that in the prompt. But it does take into account all of the context from your email. So I'm going to make that a little bit shorter. And then you can keep prompting Copilot and keep giving it more prompts to kind of adjust it till you're happy with that. Another feature I also really like is, I'll just keep that, is the feature which is coaching by Copilot. And what that does is scans your emails and analyzes them and gives you feedback on how to improve the tone and the sentiment and clarity. So it gives you exact examples of how you could reword your emails. Something I quite often do, and you can apply this, is I either write an email with just my thoughts or I put that in the draft box and then I get Copilot to take just my messy thoughts and then write that into a nice email. So it kind of saves me time and makes generating or putting out more professional emails a lot quicker and easier. Now I'm going to jump into Teams. So Teams is definitely one of my, I'm in meetings like all day, back to back, every day. And they're all about Copilot, which makes it personally quite hard for me to, one, capture the meeting notes of meetings, because if I'm back to back, I'm trying to pay attention, I'm trying to, recap it and then move on to the next meeting and make sure I've recorded everything. This has become an absolute lifesaver. So when you transcribe your meetings, you'll get these AI generated meeting summary notes. And on the side here, it's taken everything we've talked about and recorded it here for me. And it also has taken the follow-up tasks. So then I can also come back to this and use just the general Copilot chat or come back to the meeting and say, what are the tasks that are, action assigned to me for this week that I need to complete? And Copilot has that. And then you also have the chat, which I love as well, which you can use both during the meeting and after the meeting. So if I joined late to the meeting, for example, I can ask Copilot to tell me what I've missed and it will recap everything for me. I can say, I can kind of pull specific information out from my meetings. So in the AI notes, this gives you kind of a general, complete summary of the whole meeting, but sometimes there's just specific parts that you're interested in. So you can go in and say, here I said, can you list the key concerns about this project and tell me what ones are the priority? And Copilot will kind of list those concerns and then understand based on the language what is the most important priority. And then I've also asked Copilot to put that into a table. So super helpful. And we also get this on meetings that we don't attend. So when you have clashes, as long as you're invited to the meeting, you can get this full recap. So you can come in afterwards and then without needing to spend the whole hour that you didn't originally have anyway watching their recording, you can just use the chat to pull out things. Like I'll go in and say, what are all the things that they talked about that is around Copilot, because that's my job. Or I say, was I mentioned? If I was mentioned by name in this meeting, it will be listed here. So I can jump to that part of the recording and watch that. We'll get more detail about where that was from. So yeah, super powerful for helping you to wrap up on meetings as well. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I've already gone on a little bit over time, but pop any questions in the Q&A or chat and I'll come back to you on those. All right. Mutedly. Just need to bring up the PowerPoint again, I think. Oh, thank you.
Yep, it's just coming up there now.
Awesome.
Let's just go back to the start. We'll get us back to where we need to be. Okay, Lauren, you should be able to take control of that one now.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Lee. My name is Lauren Pinkney. I'm a partner development manager here at AvePoint, where I work closely with MSP partners like Rodin to help them navigate data lifecycle management, security, and compliance in the modern workplace. So AI is transforming the way that we work, but as we all know, technology is only as powerful as the foundation it's built on. So today I'm going to talk about how to set up your organization for success when it comes to Copilot, ensuring you have the right data governance, security posture, and compliance strategy to fully leverage AI with confidence. So for those who might not be familiar, AvePoint is a global leader in data security and management solutions. We've been in the game for over 20 years, helping organizations securely migrate, manage, and protect their data across Microsoft 365 and other cloud environments. With a presence in more than 100 countries and a customer base spanning enterprises, government agencies, and SMBs alike, our mission has always been the same: empowering businesses to collaborate with confidence. And while we've built strong relationships with some of the world's largest organizations, we know that small and medium-sized businesses face unique challenges when it comes to security, compliance, and operational efficiency. That's why we've tailored our solutions to ensure MSPs and their customers have the same level of protection and control as the enterprise without the complexity. As organizations continue to embrace AI and the cloud, security and compliance have never been more critical. So here at AvePoint, we understand that protecting sensitive data isn't just a priority, it's a responsibility. That's why trust is at the core of everything we do. AvePoint solutions are built with enterprise-grade security in mind, and we carry numerous industry-recognized certifications. And these certifications reflect our commitment to developing, implementing, and maintaining the highest standards of security and privacy, not just within our products and services, but also within our own internal systems. Now, data is growing at an unprecedented rate, and with the rise of generative AI, that growth is accelerating even faster. Organizations are creating, sharing, and storing more data than ever before, whether it's emails, documents, Teams conversations, or AI-generated content. AI thrives on data, fueling insights, automation, and decision-making, but without a solid data management strategy, organizations risk overwhelming their systems, increasing security vulnerabilities, and limiting AI's true potential. As businesses look to leverage AI tools like Copilot, it's important to recognize that AI is only as effective as the data it can access. While Copilot has the potential to transform productivity, there are key challenges organizations must address to ensure it delivers real value. So first, not all business critical data lives in Microsoft 365. Many organizations operate in hybrid environments, meaning AI can't surface insights from siloed information that's stored in third-party apps or legacy systems. Second, access control is crucial. Employees need the right information at the right time, but without proper governance, sensitive data could end up in the wrong hands, posing security and compliance risks. Then there's the issue of content relevance and accuracy. If your M365 environment is cluttered with outdated, duplicate, or irrelevant files, Copilot may generate responses based on bad data, leading to poor decision-making. Another challenge is managing Microsoft 365 workspaces over their lifecycle. Teams, SharePoint sites, and documents grow rapidly, and without a clear structure, AI can struggle to retrieve meaningful insights. Scalability is also a factor. Identifying, classifying, and securing large volumes of data is complex, but essential for AI to function effectively. Organizations need a way to maintain visibility and control as their data footprint expands. Finally, tracking adoption and proving ROI is key. Without analytics on how AI is being used and the value it's delivering, it's difficult to measure success and drive continuous improvement. Now, we've just covered the key challenges organizations face when implementing Copilot, issues like data silos, access control, content relevance, and governance. But the good news is these challenges aren't roadblocks. They're opportunities to build a stronger, more intelligent data foundation. And that's where AvePoint comes in. Our holistic approach to data readiness ensures that organizations don't just adopt AI, but optimize it for long-term success. And we break this down into 3 key areas: centralizing and enhancing data integrity, identifying and enforcing content policies, and go forward governance and automation. So with this structured approach, AvePoint helps organizations move beyond AI readiness and into AI excellence, where Copilot becomes a true force multiplier for productivity, security, and innovation. So let's take a deeper look into these 3 steps. So first, organizations need to lay the groundwork for success. If your information is scattered across different platforms, maybe on-premises legacy systems or other clouds, it creates inefficiencies, increases security risks, and limits the effectiveness of Copilot. That's why centralizing and enhancing data integrity is a critical first step. AvePoint provides a streamlined, hassle-free migration experience, making it easy to consolidate business-critical information into Microsoft 365. Before moving a single file, we help you understand your existing data landscape, analyzing information architecture, data size, user activity, workflows, and customizations to ensure a seamless transition. Our high-speed, full-fidelity migration preserves data integrity, including Teams chats and shared channels, so nothing is lost in the process. And with built-in discovery and analysis, you gain key insights into deciding what to keep, remove, or archive, which helps eliminate redundant, outdated, and trivial content before it clutters your environment. But migration isn't just about moving data, it's about setting up a smarter, more compliant foundation. With automated retention policies, you can simplify compliance, reduce your storage costs, and ensure the right data is available when needed. Finally, we take governance a step further with dynamic business rules that help manage content lifecycles, ensuring data remains secure, organized, and AI-ready long after migration. Now, let's explore the next step: enforcing content policies to maintain security and compliance. With your data centralized and optimized, the next step in AI readiness is ensuring a secure and compliant M365 environment. Because without proper governance, Copilot could surface sensitive or overshared content to the wrong people. So first, run a risk assessment to identify who has access to sensitive data, whether they've accessed it, and if any external users pose a security risk. AvePoint tools aggregate highly exposed content and map it against sensitive information types, giving you a heat map of at-risk data across M365. Now, we all know security is not just a one-time fix, it's an ongoing process. So with AvePoint, you can track exposure over time, including anonymous links and external sharing, ensuring visibility into changes within your tenant. Once risks are identified, cleaning up permissions and enforcing policies becomes simple. Our solutions allow you to quickly resolve data visibility concerns, apply batch fixes, and automatically revert configuration drift or security issues before they become a problem. And because governance needs to scale, AvePoint enables you to apply security policies efficiently across your entire M365 environment, so AI can work within a structured, secure, and well-managed framework. Now, with a strong security foundation in place, we can now look at that final step, which is ensuring long-term governance and automation to maintain AI readiness over time. So AI isn't just a one-time implementation. It requires ongoing governance and automation to ensure long-term success. That's why AvePoint helps organizations elevate data management with precision and efficiency. So Copilot operates with only the most accurate, up-to-date, and relevant content. To start, we enforce go-forward governance by controlling workspace creation and classification, ensuring only approved users can create teams, SharePoint sites, and groups with the right security settings from day one. We help reduce redundant, obsolete, and trivial content from the beginning by automating content classification across Microsoft 365, SharePoint, and file systems, preventing unnecessary clutter and duplication that impacts collaboration and ultimately AI performance. Finally, with lifecycle rules and defensible deletion practices, organizations can automate archival and removal of outdated content, ensuring AI gathers only the most relevant, high-value data, fueling productivity without unnecessary risk. So with AvePoint, governance isn't an afterthought. It's built-in, scalable approach that keeps AI-ready data structured, secure, and optimized for long-term success. Preparing for AI, specifically Copilot for Microsoft 365, isn't just about turning on a feature. It's about building a strong, secure, and well-governed data foundation that allows AI to deliver accurate, relevant, and compliant insights. So with AvePoint's end-to-end platform, we guide organizations through each step of this journey, which we just covered, right? Centralizing and enhancing data integrity, enforcing security and compliance, automating data management, and sustaining AI readiness with governance and automation. So with AvePoint, organizations can confidently deploy Copilot for Microsoft 365, knowing that data is structured, compliant, and AI ready. So appreciate the time today to help you take that next step. We've got a few valuable resources here. And if you have any questions or would like to discuss your AI readiness roadmap in more detail, the Rodin and AvePoint teams are here to help. So thank you so much, and back over to you, Lee.
Thanks for that. Thanks both for sharing some of those valuable insights. Microsoft Lauren, very much looking forward to that new feature you touched on there with Outlook prioritizing emails. That could be a lifesaver. And on the other side as well, that importance of data readiness and organizational readiness, it really can't be understated. For those of you there today that, if you're a business leader or an executive and you're not already using Copilot, my advice would be that it's really well worth just getting in and giving it a go. It's definitely going to give you some time back. But as we look forward, I guess to help you, on your journey, we have put together a checklist that we'll be sharing with you as well, that you can use as a bit of a guide to guide your organization through some of those essential elements, just to help make sure that you're going to have a successful rollout and adoption that's secure, that you actually get some value out of as well. You can also engage with us at Rodin here to go through a readiness assessment with you. So that'll help you to identify any gaps in your organization, whether it's capabilities, architecture from your infrastructure, looking at data governance and that organizational readiness as a whole, and really help you prepare for that successful implementation. Additionally, we can also provide you with training and enablement sessions, one-on-one or with groups. They'll give you that head start, or maybe even if you've found that you've already started using Copilot, but maybe not getting the most from it, it's a really good way to go as well. And I guess lastly, for those of you who transact your Microsoft 365 licensing through Rodin, there is currently some promotional pricing available on some subscriptions. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 for 10 or more annual subscriptions, they're giving 15% off, which is pretty cool. That's up until the end of the month, so 31st of March. So your account manager, client success manager will be able to give you a little bit more information about that. Look, lastly, we do have a little bit of time, so I know there's a couple of questions there that have been through in the Q&A. Feel free to pop any more in there that you might have. Janet has asked, is NFP pricing available? There is, so we'll be able to get you some information on that. And Mark has also asked about what would be the best practice to prevent users from pasting sensitive data into ChatGPT, or I guess some other generative AI tool that may not be as secure. Happy to field that one unless someone else wants to jump in. Cool.
It's a theme if you like.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry, just on the NFP pricing, there definitely is NFP pricing. It's 15% off, just stand like all the time. And this other question, the one around best practice for preventing users paste sensitive data. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be things for AvePoint as well, but I would probably I know that Dallas sensitivity labels can help with that. So when you have confidential data, you can ensure that you can make sure that users can't copy that and then paste it into like external systems. So that's the way I'd go about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess to add to that, there are some great things in Microsoft 365 that you can do with that and sensitivity labels. The other thing that we're big advocates for is around just your governance and procedures as well. So making sure that as part of, if you have your acceptable use policies for IT, that you have something in there about AI and I guess what are the acceptable uses for AI in the organization as well is key. So look, that looks like that's about it that we have today. So thank you so much, both Lawrence, for being with us today, and for all of you who attended. I hope that you got some value out of that. And yeah, if you have any questions that maybe you don't want to post here, you want to come directly to us, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, thanks again for attending, and we'll be in touch with some of those resources we spoke about. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks so much. See ya.
Thank you.